Welcome to the Coastal Kitchen. Hi, I'm Karen Mashures, and today we are having a tea party. I just got back from a trip seeing relatives in England, and the taste is still in my mouth. So I've got some friends coming over, and we're going to have afternoon tea. Today I'll be making berries and custard tart. We'll have some tea cakes, little rose flavored. We're going to have sandwiches. Of course, the cucumber is going to be involved in one of them. And we're going to make scones or scones, whichever you prefer to call that, with clotted cream. Beautiful cup of tea, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to tell you is that I'm going to be using some ingredients that you're going to have to go to specialty stores to get, but they are easy to find here in the States. All right, our berries and cream. I've got Bird's English custard, and this is what I'm using today. It's a powdered custard mix that has a beautiful consistency, and I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of the custard and 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, and I'm going to take about a tablespoon of whole milk, and I'm going to keep this right here in case I need a little bit more. And I'm just going to whisk this around until it becomes a paste. Okay, my paste is ready. Let's pour this milk in my saucepan. I'm just taking about 2 cups of milk. Get that in, turn it on, medium, and let that start to scald. While that's going on, I have some tart shells, and I've already pre-cooked them because I want them to be nice and cooled for my berries. So I've got my berries washed, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put 2 raspberries in the bottom of the tart shell. You can make your own pastry if you want to, but some of these beautiful companies have made such good little pie shells that it's really easy to go this way. All right, got my berries in. I'm going to put a little bit more in there after I pour my custard in. Okay, berries in. Let's get this out of the way. And I'm going to take this little whisk and just start whisking my milk. Want it to start to bubble around the edges. Okay, you can see I've got some bubbles around the edges, a little bit of steam coming up, and what I'm going to do is pour this scalding milk into my paste, and I'm just going to stir around as I go. All right, now you can see it's starting to turn a nice light yellow. And I want to make sure that all of that paste is out of the bottom of this bowl. All right, now the easy part. It's going to go right back in my pan. Let's put this right there. And back on the stove, and we're going to bring it up to a boil. We're going to stir this the whole time. Okay, it's boiling, so let's turn this off real fast. I'm going to keep that going, get my trivet, and this sets up pretty fast. And this is the kind of custard that gets a little bit of a skim on it, and that's what I want in my tarts. So I'm not going to cover this right away. I'm going to let that just cool a second. And we're going to pour this right over our berries. I've got a little ladle that I love for this. So this is going to go in the fridge. And you know what? I think I'm going to get a little bowl here because I love this custard. And I'm just going to save the rest of it. It's going to go in the fridge too. All right. I'm going to get this in the fridge, and I'll be right back, and we're going to start on our tea cakes. Okay, now it's time for our sugared rose tea cakes. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flour and put it in my little sifter here. and add my salt and my baking powder. The one thing about the English cakes is absolutely baking powder. Okay, that looks great. Let's put these over here. Now, I'm just going to give this a little whisk just to make sure everything is incorporated. All right, next step is we're going to take this big bowl and we're going to put 2 eggs, 2 whole eggs, and our sugar. And we are just going to start on high. All right, now I've been beating that for about 2 minutes, and you can see it's a very pale yellow color, and we've got to now incorporate our butter and our vanilla. So keep mixing and slowly pour in your butter. Nice stick of melted butter. And now it's time for the vanilla. Okay, all in. Now we're going to take our dry ingredients and we're going to add about half of our dry ingredients, and then we're going to add all of our milk and then the next half of our dry ingredients. So we're going to mix the whole time. Don't want to overmix, so I'm going to stop right there. I just want it to get a little bit incorporated. Grab a spatula. You can tell it's a thick batter. And I'm going to move this out of the way so I can start filling my mini cupcake tin. Now I have my papers, my mini little cupcake tin with my papers in it, and I'm going to use about a tablespoon in each cup. So let's get this ready. Okay, last one. Now this is going to go into a 350 oven for about 15 minutes, maybe not quite. And this makes 48 minis. So the extra batter that I have here, I'm going to turn into a cake. So I'm just going to leave that right over here for a second. And we're going to put these into the oven. I just want to give them a nice tap. Okay? Sets them down. 350 for 15 minutes. All right. This is so easy. It's just a glaze icing, but it's made with Prosecco. And if you don't want to use Prosecco, if you don't want the alcoholic content, the little bit that's there, go ahead and use 7-Up. It'll work just as well. All right, powdered sugar, and I'm going to give this a little sift here. Now I've just got some Prosecco. You can use, as I said, a sparkling champagne if you'd like. You can use 7-Up or ginger ale. I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons into this, and if it's too thick, I'm going to thicken it up a little bit. If it's just right, we're going to be lucky. All right, it turned out perfectly. Looks like we got lucky. I'm going to give these little tea cakes a flavor of the rose. So I'm using rose water. Now this is very, very potent stuff. And what I want to do is get 1 drop in there. So I've used my little skewer because it's so potent that it will taste like perfume if you don't do it right. Now if you want to color this, you can, but I prefer to leave it white because I'm going to put a little bit of pink sanding sugar on there. All right, let's get this ready. I'm going to cover it until my cupcakes come out of the oven. So let's get a little cloth because I don't want it to crust up. and we're going to wait for our cupcakes to get ready. As soon as they're ready, we will be back after a word from our sponsor.
Most people couldn't fit 200 local farms on their table. Well, that's where we come in. For the very best of everything local, Lowe's Foods.
Welcome back. During the break, we got these out of the oven. They're cool enough now to ice, so I'm going to uncover my icing, give it a nice little stir, and let's start. I'm going to get one of these out of my pan. Real easy, just get your fingers into it, stick it down into the icing, let that drizzle off, give it a nice shake, and they're ready to decorate. So I'm going to open up my sanding sugar, and I thought pink would be pretty today, so I'm just going to put some sanding sugar on it. And I've got some little edible pearls, and that's going to go right on top. Easy and simple. Let's get this finished, and then we're going to go make our tea sandwiches. All right, it's time to make our sandwiches. You know, finger sandwiches and triangles are really great. I have softened some cream cheese. I'm just going to whip it around a little bit more and get that ready. Let's get this. Okay. Now, to my mixture for my cucumber sandwich, I've got 1 block of cream cheese that's been softened. I've got some butter that has been softened. And we are going to get all of that in, and Miracle Whip. Now, I love Miracle Whip with this because it just gives it a nice little tang and brightens up the cucumber. So let's get this all mixed in real fast. Now I'm going to add my spices and my dill. I've got garlic powder. It's 1/4 teaspoon. And let's chop up some dill. Fresh dill, just about 2 tablespoons. And we want a nice fine chop on this. Just get all those little leaves and stems nicely chopped. So let's put that in. And we're going to do another quick whip. All right. Now I'm just going to take everything down here from the sides. And it's nice and smooth, and it will be easy to spread on my bread. So let's put that up there. On this sandwich, I'm going to be using very thin sliced bread. You can almost see through it. So this is going to come over here. And I'm going to show you my little trick about cucumbers. I do use a mandolin, and I have sliced my cucumber a little bit. Got the peeling off, and just nice thin slice, and we're ready to go. So let's put this over here again. Now, to build the sandwich, we're going to take some softened butter, and on one side of my bread, now just about all tea sandwiches have a beautiful little coating of butter. So got that. On the other side, I'm going to put some of my mixture. So let's get a little bit here. And I like to have this flavor prevalent on my sandwich because this is what it's all about, the dill and the cucumber. So let's arrange some cucumbers, a nice amount, one for the middle. And this is where I'm going to take my serrated knife and just cut the edges off. All right, I'm going to take 2 slices of bread, And mustard goes on one side. And be generous. You don't have to think that this will be too much. It's a mild mustard and really super. And of course, we've got to butter the other side. And these are so easy to make. It's not a lot of preparation. You can do your own ham if you want to. Cook that all day and make it for your sandwiches. But this is just as easy, and it tastes absolutely wonderful. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece and I'm just going to fold it here and take another piece and fold it there. Take a piece of cheese, and this is such a soft cheese that you can just break it up. It's almost like lace. So let's put some right there. Get some here. And now it's time for the top. Okay, now let's get our eggs for our egg salad. Okay, I'm going to use 3 hard-boiled eggs, and I want the egg boiled in a certain way so it turns out right, which is I put it in cold water, bring it to a boil, then let it go for about 8 minutes, and immediately put it in ice water. Then when it's cool, it's really easy to peel. You don't have any funny green rings around your egg. Okay, chopped up, but you want to leave some nice chunky pieces, okay? All right, I'm going to put in some mayonnaise, and this is American style mayonnaise. Now I'm going to put in English style mayonnaise. This is more like salad cream, and you can get this again at specialty stores. You can get it at English specialty shops, and it's got a little bit of a sweetness to it. All right, we just want this to bind together. Don't want a lot of mayonnaise. All right, salt and pepper, a little bit of pepper, just a little bit of salt. Give it a stir, and it's time for our bread. Now, people often ask me, they say, why butter on bread? And it's because it keeps your bread from getting soggy. Also tastes good too. Everything's better with butter. All right, now, about 2 good teaspoons. Let's grab a knife. All right. Nice squish down all the way to the edges, because you want a little bit of that bite everywhere. Now on this you can put watercress if you'd like, but today I'm going to put some sprouts. I'm just using regular sprouts, and gives that little bit of freshness. Not too many. And let's put that on top. All right, last one here. Let's go ahead and get this on the plate. And we have to take a real quick break for a word from our sponsors. I'm going to clean up a little bit, and we're going to start our scones and tea, and we'll be ready to have our party.
The Coastal Kitchen would like to say thank you to our sponsors at Holden Brothers Farm Market in Charlotte for supplying the fresh produce on this week's show. Swing by their indoor market located near mile marker 10 on Highway 17, or check them out online at holdenbrothersfarmmarket.com.
Welcome back. This is all about the scones. Now, the first thing I have to do is take 1 egg with the white and pour in a tablespoon of water, and I'm just going to give this a quick beat right here. Just want it nice and fluffy, and then we're going to set it aside. So this is going to come right over here, and we're gonna get ready to rock. Okay, my flour. I put my flour, my sugar, my salt, and my baking soda all in my bowl. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna give it a nice stir. And then we're gonna make our pastry. Okay, 4 tablespoons of butter, and we're gonna start cutting it in. All right, I've got some great big crumbs in here, so I'm gonna finish with that. I have to beat 2 eggs. Just wanna beat them up. And I'm gonna pour in some heavy cream while I'm beating. About 1/2 cup. And now I'm going to put this right into my dry mixture. And I'm pouring it in the center and bringing everything together. Don't want to overmix it. And this is the tricky part. We're going to stir, and everything should come together in one lump. And if it doesn't, we've got to put a little bit more cream in it, and we'll just gauge that as we go. All right, this looks pretty good. Let's get this out of the way. I'm going to put my currants in. And currants are from a very sweet little black grape, and they're in the raisin family, of course. And currants, to me, are what makes a scone a scone. All right. Now it's time for hands. I'm going to get a little bit of flour here. And we're just going to pull this right out on the board. We're going to work it together just a little bit. It does come together in one lump, so we're good. And I'm just going to make a nice little ball. Flatten it out, and I'm going to roll it out. I'm going to pat my edges back together, and I'm going to take a knife, and you can either make these rounds or you can cut them into triangles. And I'm going to actually cut right down the sides here. And these go right on my pan, okay? I've got a sheet of parchment paper right here, and we're just going to lay them out. They'll cook in a 400-degree oven for about 15 minutes. You'll see when they get nice and golden brown. Okay, on the tray. Now, I'm going to use my egg wash real fast. All right, you just want to put a nice coating on each top. All right, now remember, you can cut these into any shape that you like. Biscuit shape, triangles, squares, anything is acceptable. All right, 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. And I'm going to wash my hands real fast. And we'll start with our clotted cream. Okay, now let me clean this board just a little bit so I can do my clotted cream. The cream is one of the best parts of a scone. So I have 4 ounces of Philadelphia cream cheese, and I am going to just give it a little twizzle with this mixer. and I'm going to add sour cream, some powdered sugar, about 4 tablespoons, and we're going to run this through again real fast. Now it's time for my whipping cream. Whipping cream goes right in, and this is going to take about 5 minutes. Okay, looks like we've got this, and it's going to go in a bowl. Let's see what I've got here. I'm going to put this in this bowl. We're going to put it in the fridge, and it will set up just perfectly. It's almost like whipping cream, but it's a little bit thicker. So let's get this in the fridge, and we're going to make some tea. All right, the perfect cup of tea. That's one thing that people always think they've got right. I thought I had it right for a long time. Most of the time I use a tea bag first thing in the morning because I'm not going to make myself a great big pot of tea. But the first thing that you do, and I've already done this, is pour boiling water in your teapot. Just make sure that they've been cleaned very well, and whatever you're using to boil your water in has been cleaned also. So what we're going to do is now pour it right out of the tea kettle, okay? Now this pot holds about 5 cups, but I always cut it short, 1. And so I'll put in 4 teaspoons of loose tea. Now we've got 4 for the cups that we've got, and then remember, 1 for the pot. Okay? So we've got that in. We've got a tea cozy. And I'm going to put the pot in the tea cozy right now. And if you don't have a tea cozy, use a tea towel. It works just fine. Keeps the tea nice and hot. All right, hot water. It's got to be boiled. And we're going to pour it right on top of our tea leaves. And we're going to go almost to the top of the pot. You can smell that aroma right now. And, of course, put your lid on. This is going to set for about 5 minutes, anywhere from 3 to 7, depending on the brand of tea that you use and the strength of the tea that you use. So we're going to get the scones out of the oven in just a second. We're going to have a word from our sponsor, and we'll be back with it all ready for a tea party.
Most people couldn't fit 200 local farms on their table. Well, that's where we come in. For the very best of everything local, Lowe's Foods.
What a fun morning I've had at the Coastal Kitchen. I have Sandy coming over and some other friends, and we're going to have our afternoon tea. I've got our berry tarts, the rose tea cakes, our English sandwiches. You can see that I even made a little cake out of the rest of the batter that I had over here. I've got scones with clotted cream, strawberry jam. I've got a Victoria sponge cake. Now, we didn't make that today on the show, but if you'll go to the Coastal Kitchen, search for us there on Facebook, you can get our recipes. I have had an absolutely wonderful time today, and oh, Sandy!
Hi, Karen.
So great to see you.
Good to see you too. I missed you.
Well, I'm so glad to be back, but this is my little piece of England, and I'm happy that we are all going to be able to get together and have our tea party. Now, let me pour you a cup of tea. This is the fun part.